next on UBC. Brought to you by
Airtel. Download Airtel TV to watch and support Ugandan talent on The Voice Africa every Sunday at 8 p.m.
Hello, good evening and welcome to our second edition of UBC News tonight on this 4th day of May 2023. Before we get into tonight's news, let's first take a look at the top stories this evening. In our top stories tonight, Minister Nandu to released on a 10 million cash bail. Court imposes strict bail. Okello Engola's clan want blood compensation for their son. Speaker Anita Among wants a formation of a disaster commission. And in sports, Uganda and Cuba sign MOU to grow sport. Good evening once again. I'm Lorene Masika Kazimoto. Now in our headlining story tonight, we read you a letter that the president sent to, or a message that he sent on the death of the retired Colonel Charles Engola, and it reads, fellow Ugandans, condolences on the death of retired Colonel Charles Engola. Now, Charles Engola was a lion. I first saw him in Lubiri Barracks before it was returned to the Kabaka, manning a 14.5mm anti-aircraft gun in 1986. Later, he became an infantry commander in the Minakulu area. That is when he got his Machodwogo Kibubyo praise name. Marked in our Luo language means fire, Dwogo means coming back. The peasants who gave him that praise name meant that when he took command of the army in the area, people were able to make fires again in order to cook and warm themselves. Before Okello defeating the Konyi terrorists in the area, people were in hiding, fearing to make fire so that the terrorists do not see the fire and come for them. On account of that popularity, he was elected LC5 chairman and eventually member of parliament. I was very happy to appoint him a minister of state. His killing by his bodyguard was a big crime to patriotism in Uganda. We would have hunted him to exact justice on him. Unfortunately, he took his own life. Hence, we did not have that opportunity. There is an ongoing investigation. I await the conclusion of that investigation before I comment on the security of public officials and the mistakes made and how we will rectify them. Signed, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, retired general. Now, the National Resistance Movement, NRM, has paid tribute to the fallen junior Minister for Labour, Employment and Industrial Relations, Charles Okello Engola, describing him as courageous and a patriotic servant. The NRM Secretary General, Richard Odwong, says the minister was key in the ruling NRM government and his death will leave a big gap. Philip Aguta with more.
tribute continues to pour in for the fallen Junior Minister for Labour, Employment and Industrial Relations, Charles Okello Engola. The NRM Secretary General Richard Todong describes the minister, who was his party chairperson for Lango sub-region, as courageous and patriotic.
He joined NRM in the early 1980s, and he has since then worked closely with President Museveni and the leadership of the National Resistance Movement Party. He was at the center of fighting insurgency in northern Uganda, and that was how he gained his name, his nickname, Macho Duogo, because he was very active in fighting LRA rebels.
Todong also reveals that Okello was key in ruling NRM party, and his death leaves a big gap.
I really missed him. We shall miss his ability to mobilize, his ability to bring unity in Lango and northern Uganda, his charisma and everything about him. The party has lost a giant.
Meanwhile, at the residence of the fallen minister in Chanja, a Kampala suburb, preparations for the next week's prayers are ongoing. George Olong, one of the sons to the minister, confirmed to the media that the minister will be buried on Saturday, 13th May next week, at their ancestral home in Oyam district.
The program has been scheduled that on the 9th, which is next week on Tuesday, the body of Mosei will be taken to Parliament for viewing, and then on Wednesday the body will be taken to Kololo airstrip, where there will be a funeral service prayer that will be held there. Thereafter, the body will be brought home for a vigil, where we shall be home here. Then on a Thursday, the body will be flown home in the village, and the arrangement in the village will begin on Friday when the body arrives.
Minister Charles Engola was shot dead by his personal bodyguard, Private Sabit Wilson, on Tuesday morning at his home in Chanja, Nakawa Division. Philip Aguta for UBC News in Kampala.
The clan to which the late retired Colonel Charles Patrick Okello Engola belonged has finally spoken. Okello Engola was also one of the deputy clan leaders of Otikokin in Lango sub-region. Now the clan has come out to ask the clan and tribe from which the murderer hail to willingly engage them for a cultural reconciliatory process. Eddie Olwa reports.
We need to fight underdevelopment in this country, and the only way to do it is loving our country, loving our people, and loving the work we are doing to them, giving them the proper service which the government is giving us to do.
On Tuesday morning, the country was hit by the disgraceful murder of State Minister for Labour, Employment and Industrial Relations, retired Colonel Charles Patrick Okello Engola.
We are in Oyam district today.
Okello Engola, who was taken down by his bodyguard, Private Wilson Sabiti, was the deputy clan leader of Otikokin clan.
Late retired Colonel Charles Okello Engola was a special person. He had the love of the Lao people in his heart. First of all, we think we are alive, we are surviving now because of him. There are many questions to be answered, which the Lao people are still demanding for clear answers.
Traditionally, when murders of this nature occur, the clan to which the perpetrator belongs is required to pay blood compensation as a way of reconciling the two factions,
so that it does not become a factor that can cause problems between the two tribes, where Sabiti comes from and the Lang people. The Lang people are peaceful people. We don't want our generosity, we don't want our harmony to be abused by anybody.
According to tradition, compensation at least requires 7 cows, goats, and some money, and sometimes even more, depending on a number of factors.
Because elders have to sit and then decide what exactly to be done.
Still in grieving mood, these Lao traditional leaders want Sabiti's tribe to come clear on this matter before they take traditional steps.
This has been not an ordinary murder. This is death forced upon a passion. We have our own way. If the clan or if the tribe of this Sabiti does not come into terms with what we want, traditionally our elders will get together and then we pray to God. The power is left onto the spiritual world for the spirit of the dead, together with the spirit of the ancestors of the dead, to do the revenge. And the revenge will not be on the individual alone.
The relatives of the killer should come out willingly to talk to Lao as a tribe and say, please, let's sit down and harmonize this so that we reconcile and we continue as one.
The Beta clan leaders also want the government, through its security agencies, to make public all information pertaining the one Wilson Sabiti who ended the life of their clan leader.
It is still not yet very clear, but we believe government is well aware, because from the time that he joined the army, the time that he was recruited, we believe all his particulars or details were taken.
Charles Osendro, the clan spokesperson, also wants government to rein on some pockets of people celebrating their son's death on social media.
Then any other person can ask, what is the motive?
I said, what?
Retired Colonel Charles Engola survived by widow and 3 children. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
So let me find out if it is true.
Speaker of Parliament Anita Among has emphasized the need to establish a disaster commission to prepare for emergencies. The concern by the Speaker follows a fresh calamitous occurrences in Kigezi sub-region that have seen roads and homes destroyed and over 15 people dead. State Minister for Trade David Bahati says government is working towards restoring normalcy in the area.
Roads have been destroyed, homes flooded, and to worsen it, some lives have unfortunately been lost in Kigezi sub-region. It is an emergency situation that has come to the attention of Parliament, prompting a moment of silence.
May we rise for a moment of silence for the people who have lost their lives.
May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Uganda is a very interesting country. It is either floods or drought. So we must be always prepared for the floods and the drought. And we've lost a number of people just within these few days.
Worried that the challenge could extend to other disaster-prone areas, Speaker of Parliament Anita Among wants establishment of a disaster commission.
It's a constitutional requirement. But nobody has ever bothered to do this. They will say we have a disaster committee in the constituency. But it would be this disaster commission to push the disaster committee at district level to ensure that we prepare in time. But we have paid a deaf ear to that.
In Kisoro district alone, about 10 people have died, something that area leaders are worried over.
Even when we have appealed to government to send relief, as I talk now, relief cannot get where to pass unless they pass through Kigali or unless it is flown from maybe Kabale to Kisoro, because the road from Kabale to Kisoro has been washed off at a place called Murgwa. So we have a very, very big crisis.
Eddie Kwizera wants a special fund from the Finance Ministry to fund Uganda National Roads Authority in reconstructing these roads.
And UNRA gets an emergency contractor to go and reconstruct that road, which has been washed up. But even the same has been happening in Kanungu, so we want Minister of Finance to provide funds.
This has been answered in affirmative by State Minister for Trade David Bahati. Bahati is also Member of Parliament for Ndorwa West in Kabale District, one of the affected areas.
Upon receiving this information, we have involved the Office of the Prime Minister. I've also informed the Minister of Works. We are doing all that we can to make sure that the situation at least temporarily improves as we plan for a permanent solution for this.
Going forward, measures have to be adopted to prevent future occurrence of disasters. Here is the suggestion by Eddie Kwizera, the Member of Parliament for Bukimbiri County in Kisoro District.
Similar disasters can only be avoided by better methods of farming and also by government providing sufficient funds for road maintenance. Because like this road from Kabale to Kisoro, it is there for close to 20 years. It has never had any maintenance.
For now, it remains a fragile situation in Kigezi and Rwenzori sub-regions, requiring urgent response. Henry Okurut, UBC.
Minister of State for Karamoja Affairs, Agnes Nandutu, has been released on a cash bail of 10 million shillings and imposed with stringent terms, among others, not to move outside the jurisdiction of the country without court's permission. Minister Nandutu is faced with charges of dealing with suspect property following her alleged involvement in the Karamoja iron sheet scandal.
The Anti-Corruption High Court, presided over by Lady Justice Jane Okuo Kajuga, is trying a case where Minister of State for Karamoja Affairs Agnes Nandutu is facing charges of dealing with suspected property. Judge Kajuga, after perusing both sides' submissions, was pleased to grant Minister Agnes Nandutu bail after presenting substantial sureties.
And the suspicion that she had run off to evade the police. It is not stated whether efforts were made to trace the applicant and her workplace, and that these were futile. The fact that there was difficulty in arresting the applicant then begs the question of whether the applicant knew that she was needed by police in respect of the current charges. And I therefore proceed to grant the applicant bail on the following terms. 1, a cash bail of 10 million shillings by the applicant. 2, each of the sureties is to pay a non-cash bond of 50 million shillings.
Minister Agnes Nandutu's sureties include Nangoli Gerard, Member of Parliament for Bulambuli, and Chairperson Bugishu Caucus, Nandara Nathan Mafabi, Member of Parliament for Budadili West, and Chairperson Bugishu Cooperative Union, and Kamot Milton Apollo, LC5 Chairperson Bududa District. Other grounds to grant Minister Agnes Nandutu bail were that he had ill health and presumption of innocence of the offences against her.
Additional security of duplicate title for land comprised in Chadondo Block 224, Plot 844, land at Namugongo in the name of second surety shall be deposited with the Deputy Registrar as additional security.
However, court imposed strict bail terms to Minister Agnes Nandutu, among others, not to move outside the country's jurisdiction without court's permission, and to deposit her residence land title.
3, certificate of title for land comprised in Chagwe Plot Block 113, Plot 1649 at Nantabulirwa, and Chagwe Block 113, Plot 1650, also at Nantabulirwa, registered in the applicant's names, shall be deposited with the Deputy Registrar of this court as extra security. The applicant's passport is to be deposited with the court. 5, the applicant is banned from traveling outside the jurisdiction of the country without the leave of court until the disposition of the case.
Court will resume on 23rd May 2023 for pre-trial hearing. The offences against Minister Agnes Nandutu, prosecution alleges that during the month of June 2022, at the office of the Prime Minister's stores in Namamve and Nicholas Seloburanyi Parish in Mukono district, Minister Nandutu dealt with government property of over 2,000 pre-painted iron sheets. Gauge 28. Minister Agnes Nandutu, however, denied the said charge. Deborah Namamonde, Susan Nabugudde, UPPC News.
Health development partners are working to support manufacturing of medical devices in Uganda and on the African continent as one way of improving provision of health services. According to health development partners, importation of most medical devices has made provision of healthcare expensive.
PATH, one of Uganda's health partners, has launched the strategic framework for 2023-2026.
They need also to refocus on disease prevention. That's the most important thing most countries are going to, because we've discovered that the disease burden is actually something we can prevent. Instead of asking for more money for medicines, we should ask for more money for empowerment of our communities, because really education empowers people. It widens your horizons.
During the launch in Kampala, it was emphasized that African countries, Uganda inclusive, need to be supported to have a manufacturing base for medical devices.
Through the COVID pandemic, we all realized a very significant need for commodities. But as you know, we all import a lot of our commodities from outside countries. And so during that time when we had lockdowns, when we had challenges, shipping was a problem, but we also were hit with a lot of resource gaps. So what we are trying to work on is, can we develop capacity within in-country to be able to manufacture medical devices or even testing kits. We are mainly looking at COVID tests. We are also looking at HIV testing kits to be developed locally in Uganda. We are already working through support from the Islamic Bank with a certain manufacturing company. And once that is concluded, that company can be able to manufacture and make the products available.
Supporting the rollout of malaria vaccine by Uganda was also highlighted as key in fighting the disease.
World Health Organization has already put Uganda on the first priority of countries that will get this vaccine in 2024. Because as you are aware, malaria kills between 16 and 18 children countrywide nowadays. But also under primary health care, we want to teach our communities to learn how to prevent malaria.
Also at center stage was supporting the health ministry to strengthen health systems to handle emerging diseases.
And how we do that is through various health technical areas that include HIV and prevention, immunization, vaccinations, and then of course with recently digital health. The Ministry of Health has made it a priority to look at digital health, and so we are looking at ways to support the country in that way.
Increasing the health system's capacity to deliver better health services will contribute to achieving universal health coverage. Adiana Kote, UPPC.
The Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, has tasked the new board of Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation to work towards reviving and improving revenue collection for the entity. The minister who supervises the corporation also urged the 8-member team, headed by veteran journalist Joachim Boembo, to work selflessly for the people without paying allegiance to those who appointed him. We have more details.
The board should ensure that the planned procurement of new machinery goes ahead. The acting MD started on the process of acquiring a 5-color printer and to borrow funds from UDB and the Post Bank. The Post Bank was actually willing to lend the UPPC money at a reasonably low interest rates. The issue of acquisition of machines is very urgent because it is this that will stabilize the business and also to help the UPPC to compete in the market.
To improve on the capacity and quality of printing services available to the government. These are the core activities, and you are going to do them, and you must do them, but mind you are going to do them changing the way you are doing business. You must be on the same levels with other business enterprises in the market.
UPPC has got a lot of, has a mandate to do all the government's printing and publishing, but besides that, it has to be done qualitatively better, and we must make use of the modern digital technology to deliver better and also expand the output.
Yes.
The European Union has urged that the acts of violation of human rights are still existent in Uganda, hence calling upon the respective parties to respect and protect people's rights. This was communicated by the Ambassador of Netherlands to Uganda, His Excellency Karin Boven, at the European Union Human Rights Defenders ceremony held in Kampala.
It's now 12 years since the European Union birthed the awarding of human rights defenders in the country. Over 8 nominees participated in the awards, but only 3 were shortlisted, with Agatha Twaire emerging as the winner. During the awarding ceremony, held at the residence of the Netherlands Ambassador to Uganda, Karin Boven, it was asserted that human rights violations are still existent in the country, hence the need for respective parties to ensure that they are not violated.
As we celebrate you and other advocates and activists today, let us recognize that the work is far from over, and this award is as relevant as ever. Human rights violations continue to occur in Uganda and elsewhere. Progress is urgently needed to ensure that everyone in this country has their human rights respected, protected, and fulfilled, regardless of age, ethnic background, religion, gender, or the one you love.
Ambassador of the European Union to Uganda, Jan Sadek, commended the works done by the human rights defenders.
The EU will also speak out when we see a law that is damaging to universal values and threatens the safety and the dignity of a group of people. The struggle for human rights is an ongoing one in all parts of the world, and here in Uganda as well as in Europe. HRDs act as watchdogs and whistleblowers and ensure that all governments live up to their commitments.
He further promised adequate support to Uganda to bring the perpetrators of human rights violations to book.
The EU Human Rights Defenders Award is a reminder of the commitments the EU has towards protecting and defending human rights and fundamental freedoms worldwide. You all, and other human rights defenders in the country, have been at the forefront of fighting injustices and advocating for human rights, despite the prevailing odds that seek to silence you.
Agatha Twaire, the winner of the EU Human Rights Defender 2023, was on cloud 9 after clinching the award, saying this acts as a pillar to keep her fighting for human rights.
It is in this country, everyone is an ally, a partner in crime of another. I knew that going to court to challenge what the Law Development Center does wouldn't take us anywhere. I knew that the only thing to do is to show all Ugandans what it is doing, and I found that to be the most effective way. That is what they feared the most.
Rebecca Natongo, UPPC News.
With freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mode Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
This is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial star 100 star 1 hash, select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Haha! Toakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months. So you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial star 100 star 5 hash to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Techno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. Best group is I teach you. When I go to the Muscari, because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? It's serious you. What can I work? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. You buy meat from Umaru, and Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru, Jerry,
okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
Welcome back from that break. Now in more news, over 20,000 self-employed youth in Kagadi district that graduated from African Rural Female University under the Directorate of Industrial Training have exhibited enterprises established by themselves. The Vice-Chancellor of African University and founder of Uganda Rural Development and Training Program, Dr. Mwalimu Musheshe, while speaking at the launch of the exhibition, said these have been trained in job creation.
Dr. Mwalimu Musheshe called on parents and the youth to change their mindset as opposed to the misconception on office jobs and job seeking.
We are misled right from the beginning, and that's what we are trying now to correct, because the mindset was, if you are intelligent, you go through the education pipe from primary to university. It didn't matter what you did as long as you went to university. So when you branched off to technical institutions, you would be looked at as a failure.
The Kagadi Resident District Commissioner Nicholas Kamukama, while officiating at the exhibition, said the rule of law, democracy and constitutionalism ushered in by the NRM government has enabled Ugandans to engage in productive enterprises geared towards socio-economic development.
Ninyenda kubagambira nimwe aba African Rural University ukurgaha kushika mu ofisi yawe nacyo ntibasa kubikiza kuonkekera kukakweba n'obworo n'obugumba tutwire mu businge twaza kushita emyaka 40 mu businge nicyo bonto bakuterera n'isasi ukare umuntu barga kutera isasi aho businge bwingi ukare umuntu nayirkanga nageme y'isasi ryageme.
1,645 young people assessed by Directorate of Industrial Training. And then we also have good progress with the females. We have so far 72% of the number I've talked about enrolled as females. We have the PWDs, we are at 4%. And then in terms of the refugees, we are currently at 23%. So we are very happy about that progress.
The beneficiaries in these projects expressed joy over their successes, which they said has helped them to improve on their livelihood.
So omuvubuka bw'ajja mu programu eno asome afune obukugu bw'abufuna akole era bw'akola ayingize. So yiga kola era oyingize ssente.
I did a two years course in integrated system of education at URDT, and ever since I've been a practicing farmer. I emerged as the overall winner, national champions in agriculture. It was such a huge achievement.
Magum Rogers, UPPC News.
National Water and Sewage Corporation plans to install additional 2,600 prepaid meters in the 5 divisions of Kampala to ease accessibility of clean and cheap water to the urban poor. While launching the prepaid meter token registration exercise at National Water's headquarters in Kampala, the Deputy Resident City Commissioner, Nakawa Division, Sheikh Kasim Kamugisha, urged the coordinators of this program from all the 5 divisions of Kampala to ensure that the price of water is maintained at 25 shillings a jerrycan as intended by government. Farida Nafka reports.
National Water and Sewage Corporation has embarked on an exercise to register and revamp the prepaid meter tokens in all the 5 divisions of Kampala. The system has been in place for the last 15 years. However, for the last 5 months, National Water and Sewage Corporation received a challenge that involved hacking into their system. This culminated in 2 faulty tokens in the areas of Chisenyi suburb. However, a group of coordinators to monitor implementation of the program have been trained.
Water which is affordable at 25 shillings per jerrycan. Formerly we had instances where a jerrycan was going to 1,000 shillings because of the middlemen. So we are trying to eliminate middlemen who have been hawking, at the same time hoarding water off the wananchi of Uganda.
Because this water is supposed to be paid 25 shillings for people who are down there. So for this matter, we will help to make sure that whoever doesn't comply with that, we take a necessary step.
Meanwhile, to ease accessibility of clean and cheap water to the urban poor, National Water and Sewage Corporation will install 2,600 prepaid meters to add on the 1,400 existing ones.
To add all these systems, and are now in the process of registering all the tokens. We have over 20,000 tokens in Kampala, so we are mobilizing the communities in different parts to come and have their tokens registered Today, we are launching the recommissioning of these points, but also identifying the points we're going to add another 2,600 such meters to make sure that the water, especially for the urban poor, is affordable. And
The General Manager, Kampala, Muhammad Lutaya, says people with conventional meters should not charge more than 100 shillings a jerrycan, describing it as an act of exploitation.
if you charge 50 shillings, you're still making a profit of 25 shillings. If you charge 100 shillings, you're making a profit of 75 shillings. The problem is the person who charges even 200 shillings. That's not acceptable at all. So we want to empower the communities and work with them. So if someone is charging more than 100 shillings, as a corporation, we're going to remove you from the PSP tariff and put you to a higher tariff, but maybe...
National Water and Sewerage Corporation signs MOUs with landlords in residences where they install prepaid meters to protect them. However, the technology remains a property of the government of Uganda in those areas. I'm Nafka Farida in Kampala.
Government of Uganda has intensified efforts to resuscitate northern Uganda that suffered the adverse effects of the war. One such effort has been through improved road infrastructure that has been enabled by the Development Initiative for Northern Uganda project. We have more details.
State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Freedom Kwiyuchwinyi, has inspected a newly rehabilitated district and community roads in Moyo and Yajumani.
So why didn't you do that type of thing on this side?
These were achieved through the Development Initiative for Northern Uganda project that is implemented by the United Nations Capital Development Fund. Moyo district benefited 142 kilometers, including the 17 kilometers stretch of Aluru-Palorinya. The minister believes that despite some encumbrances, all roads under the project will be delivered and play a key part in economic development.
The work has progressed well. We have seen the first road, which is completed to 100%. But we think that there are certain areas which need to be rescued. There are erosion at the side of the roads which need to be protected right away. And that is very important. Now that the district told us they had completed, we would like the district to take that up. Maybe discuss it with UNCDF if there is any balances of money before they are handed over. Those gutters which are being eroded should be corrected immediately. But the most important thing is that the districts now should take it upon themselves to budget for maintenance. Many times that one is missed out. They should budget for maintenance so that the roads are sustained. I've also seen this other road, lot 3. That's lot 3. The last one was lot 1, where there was some work done and the contractor has been terminated. The district, together with UNCDF, should ensure that a new contractor is brought on board immediately, so that work is completed by September, because DINU is closing the program.
The road project in Ajumani is facilitating rehabilitation of district and community roads in collaboration with Germany firm Strabag. Development Initiative for Northern Uganda is a 6-year government project that is funded by the European Union and implemented by several partners that are all monitored by Office of the Prime Minister. It started in 2017 and ends this year, but all along has aimed at achieving infrastructure, good governance, and food security, nutrition and livelihoods. The program is implemented in the 5 sub-regions of northern Uganda of Acholi, Karamoja, Lango, Teso and West Nile. John Barnes, Sentamo, UPPC News.
Government, through the Ministry of Water and Environment, is implementing the proposed construction of Namalu Irrigation Scheme in Nakapiripirit, Amuru, Gulu and Bulambuli districts. The project is to provide water for multi-purpose use, to increase production and productivity of agriculture, poverty reduction to farmers at proposed sites. Lydia Chomukama reports.
The Ministry of Water and Environment, with the support from the World Bank, is undertaking the implementation of irrigation schemes for climate resilience project. At the launch of the schemes in Bale district, the Minister of Water and Environment, Sam Cheptoris, attributed how there is need to increase the 3% irrigation use to farmers.
The government's long-term goal is to ensure 100% access to irrigation and improved farming practices.
The Irrigation for Climate Resilience Project scheme looks at transforming farmers from subsistence agriculture to commercial farming,
to ensure that we change the mindset of our people.
Poverty reduction and economic growth through enhanced productivity and commercialization of agriculture, increased household income and food security by the scheme was cited.
It's a different type of farming, so they will learn slowly. But we have done it before. We know it can work, and we know it benefits the farmer because there is more production.
Baptist Latim, the chief of Powell community and a mobilizer of a successful scheme on Nyama irrigation scheme, notes some concerted efforts the ministry should undertake in this project for it to be a success.
There's a lot of poverty, and we think when this irrigation scheme is put in place, it will be able to create a lot of change on the economic of our people.
However, the local government tasked the Ministry of Water and Environment to carry out sensitization on irrigation and climate change to enable farmers embrace the project.
The community look at anything that has brought the government as something which is coming to take their land, like the issue of their part.
That square meter that we take for canals, that square meter that we take for buildings, that square meter that we take for reservoir. The rest of the land remains their own land. The government does not take any land.
Microfinance Support Center is to support the farmers in the allocated sites with micro-irrigation packages to access the project.
Ministry of Water is going to be bringing the water closer to the farmers' gardens, and Microfinance Support Center will tap that water and finance irrigation systems.
The Irrigation for Climate Resilience Project scheme will be implemented over a period of 5 years at a tune of $121.25 million. Lydia Chomkama, Joseph Muyingo, UBC News.
UBC News Tonight takes a short breather, but we return with business stories and more after these messages.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello? Hello?
This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kasozi, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey! You don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions, and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number, and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it? Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera, refrain from unnecessary engagement with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Buy Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. Best group is I teach you. When I go to the Muscari, because of the cover is very far. Is you serious? It's yes, you. What? Yeah? You stay put on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. We buy milk from Umaru, and Umaru refused to give you enough meat. Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru, Jerry,
okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
Welcome back from the break. And now into the business scene. Uganda Revenue Authority has appealed to traders to embrace the new electronic fiscal accepting invoice system for easy tax tracking and compliance. Uganda Revenue Authority Commissioner General John Musinguzi says the new technology is the only way for effective tracking of tax compliance.
Uganda Revenue Authority has held a tax sensitization dialogue with city traders to harmonize tax collection and compliance. Uganda Revenue Authority introduced a new electronic fiscal receipting invoice system to help monitor tax collection and compliance, which has been a big challenge to traders.
And that's what I was discussing. So we are appealing to businessmen, kindly embrace IFRIS because it monitors VAT. VAT is not your tax to pay, it is a consumer tax. You just collect it on behalf of government. You collect VAT on your output, you pay VAT on your input, and the difference between output and input VAT is what you pay to government. So in actual sense, the business does not incur any cost on VAT.
Traders appealed to Uganda Revenue Authority to get rid of withholding tax and rental tax, which have made the cost of doing business expensive.
Most of the traders were complaining about withholding tax. But the fact is that, the sensitization was a little bit lacking. We need more sensitization about withholding tax. First of all, to change even the perception of the trader towards withholding tax.
But then you still find that the taxes that are being posed on the commodities that we import or when we are exporting, you find that the cost of doing business is very expensive. We talked about the roads in Kampala. It's also costly now to transport any commodity. Even from industrial area, the manufacturers to bring it to the CBC, to the city center is a problem.
Withholding tax makes sense because withholding tax is advance income tax. We withhold 6% of the value in this particular contract, and then at the end of the year, it is your income tax credit. So you are going to calculate your income tax and you'll show your withholding tax receipts and you say, out of the 100 million I should be paying at the end of the year, I have already paid 90 million in form of withholding tax, and you show us your receipts.
In his response, the Uganda Revenue Authority Commissioner General John Musinguzi promised to work on some of the challenges raised, including withholding tax, but encouraged traders to embrace the new electronic receipting system.
However, the example given by someone from Chikubo was talking about a situation of retail and wholesale trade, where you buy this item and where you're buying, they are withholding 6%, and then you have to sell. So that, I think, needs a revisiting. We shall review it. We will have another engagement to study this, and then we'll make the recommendations to the policymakers on how to apply withholding tax. But I think it had a bit of point, and that's why we promised to study it further.
Now to the world of sports. The National Council of Sports has continued its monitoring and evaluation of sports federations with a visit to Uganda Cycling Association in Makindye. Now, we do warn you that there is some flash photography in this particular story. Take a look.
Annually, the National Council of Sports embarks on a monitoring and evaluation process at all sports federations under its mandate. The reason is mainly to check compliance issues importantly surrounding governance and financial prudence.
So far the experience has been so good. A number of federations and associations we've tried to visit, looking at some elements of compliance. Yes, here and there you may find some of the information that we are looking for may not be readily available, but at least some drafts have been presented to us, indicating at least some improvement in terms of compliance. When you look at the comparison from this M&E this particular year and comparing it to the previous one, at least there is some great improvement in terms of compliance by federations. We've not seen some scenarios where there is objection to our visit. We've received a warm reception from every federation we visited, and we hope that areas of weakness we've identified, we've offered technical guidance where they can at least improve.
Most federations visited appreciate National Council of Sports and Government, but call for more, especially funding and infrastructure.
The government, the National Council of Sports, to look into our problems. But problems, we need more funds in a polite way, as they have come to our office, not only Uganda Cycling Association. We are about 51 federations. To run sports is not easy. And where we are now, when you look where we come from, I've been in sports for many years, not in the leadership, but at now, from sports, at least now we can talk. We have medals in many federations, but getting a medal, even not getting a medal, to run sports in this country is not easy. We lack more courses, more training, more equipment. And lastly, can you imagine one racing bike, the one won by a medal in Ghana, it is 10,000 US dollars, about 37 million.
This latest monitoring and evaluation exercise comes at a time when Uganda is bracing for a new sports law to replace the 1964 Act. John Barnes, Centam, UBC News.
Well, that wraps it right here on UBC News tonight. Thank you so much for your company. We do leave you with tomorrow's Weather Focused with Annette Nanchimbugwe. I'm Lorraine Masika Kazimoto. Have a good night.
Wet weather conditions are prevailing over most parts of the country. Good evening and welcome to In My Weather on UBC. I'm Annette Nachimbugwe. A glance at the weather image over Africa. The rain belt is still persistent over the western, central and eastern parts of the continent, with our country inclusive, and thus nicely explains the rainfall conditions we are receiving over most parts of the country. On Friday morning, we could wake up under isolated thunder showers in Kampala and Masaka, while in Nakasongola and Mubende, isolated rains. In the western, we could have sunny intervals in Masindi and Kasese, while in Mbarara and Kabale, we could have thunder showers. In the eastern, we could have isolated rains, while over the northern, we could have sunny intervals prevailing, becoming in the afternoon rainy over most places in the central, temperatures to rise to 26 centigrades in the western. We could have thunder showers, temperatures to rise to 27 and 28 centigrades. In Kabale up to 23 centigrades. In eastern, we could have isolated rains with thunder showers in Soroti, temperatures to rise to 28 centigrades, while over the northern, could have thunder showers with temperatures to rise between 27, 28 up to 29 centigrades in Kotido. Now let's have a look at the world cities weather forecast from a few cities like London. There could be rainy isolated showers with temperatures to rise to 18 centigrades. Over Cairo, sunny conditions and temperatures to rise to 34 centigrades. In New York, isolated rains and temperatures to rise to 16 centigrades. And in Nairobi, thunder showers and temperatures to rise to 25 centigrades. Thank you for watching weather from Uganda National Meteorological Authority. Bye.
UBC